Everybody talks about the suck, but they really don't know what the suck is. You have to mentally and physically push yourself to the gym, low energy with little food, but I just never really knew what it took to get there. And I just think that once you realize and you find your why as to what is my purpose or what should I be doing to better myself, then you'll be successful.
What's your why?
My why is because I want to continue a healthy way of life. I want to live long, and I want to continue to educate myself and grow.
You can't hide what you do behind the scenes. Your body will always reflect it.
You are what you eat.
There you go.
Oh, that's it.
Nice.
There we go. All right. This is ridiculous. Welcome to Cold Tip Talks. Today's episode is our first ever former client, Robert Powell. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
Let's go.
This man doesn't need no introduction. He's a former professional natural bodybuilder, former client of ours, and honestly, you're the epitome of a man. You know that?
I don't feel it.
High standards right there. So, Rob, take us back for the relatability. A lot of guys are in that before position, before enduring the journey that they want to go on. They want to get in the best shape of their life. Take us back to before you even started this journey as a whole. What was that aha moments where it's like, man, I got to get my ass in gear?
Well, it was one of those things where I was actually in college, and I met a guy named Markel Osler, and big, beefy dude, got into bodybuilding, who was into bodybuilding, and I was like, man, I want to look like that. I want to be like him. And he kind of took me under his wing, and, you know, I actually did my first bodybuilding show down when I was in college, skinny as ever, you know, but, you know, at the same time, that kind of gave me the fuel that I needed to continue on and just keep going, you know. So then I actually, with former pro bodybuilder, natural bodybuilder, Habidino Lanaran,
Oh, yeah.
I actually got him
That's our boy.
into bodybuilding, you know, so, and he ended up winning a pro show before I did. So I'm like, I got him in bodybuilding. So if he could do it, why can't I? So he actually took me under his wing. And I ended up that next following year winning the same show that he won and winning my natural pro card.
Wow. Coach became client, client became coach.
Yep.
I like that. He's got aesthetics for days. That's impressive.
Yeah. So that's my boy, man. So I hold everything to him in regards to that matter.
Yeah. Okay. And how long ago was that? How old are you now?
I am, oh Lord, 44.
Dang. Still looking
Let's
great
go,
and
man.
youthful,
Yeah,
though.
dude.
I'm trying, man, but you know what? You just got to stay in the gym, man. You know, especially with me, you know, my profession, my career, what I do, you know, just got to stay in it, you know, and bodybuilding is a marathon, you know, getting in shape is a marathon, and I'm for the long haul, you know.
Yeah, you are.
So,
Well, talk about the long haul. You look the same as the day I met you.
Yeah.
You do, man. Facial structure, everything. Your
I definitely don't
youthfulness.
feel it. Yeah, definitely don't feel it, you know, but
But you keep showing up, as you just said.
definitely just got to keep showing up. It's one of those things where now my training has changed. You know, when
course.
you're younger, it's the ego lifting. You know, you want to put on the most weight and, you know, impress everybody in the gym, everybody looking at you. Now, people don't even bother staring at me. They might stare at me and say, man, you got a nice build to you. But as far as like a lot of my workouts, people don't even worry about what I'm doing because I'm not really lifting impressive weights to where people will be like, wow, that was nice. For me now, it's about the form. I'm huge on form now.
Do you feel like your reason for being in the gym is different now, too?
Oh, absolutely. You know, for now it's more longevity. You know, now it's for mental health. You know, like I said, with my career, mental health is big, you know, and I just have to.
And what is it that you do so that people know?
I'm a lieutenant with the Department of Corrections here in Illinois, and I deal with the criminally insane. So you can only imagine some of the things that I see. If I told you about them, you'd be like, no, that's not you know, but it's my reality. So with seeing all that stuff and dealing with those guys, you got to be mentally intact too. So
For sure.
Would you say exercise is a big like mental outlet for you?
huge. That's the biggest outlook for me in all of this. So if I don't train in the gym, it's one of those things where I have a bad day, you know, and I don't like to miss the gym because I know the type of mood and instability it'll put me through. So
For sure.
yeah, it's just one of those things where, like I said, you just got to keep going.
Okay. So walk us through some of those mental barriers. What are some of those struggles and turmoil you go through in the process during the journey?
Consistency, you know, trying to stay consistent, trying to stay motivated. That's the huge thing. You know, motivation, you know, it's at all-time high one day, 2 days later, you're like, I don't even feel like going.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I would say that's probably the biggest thing that I'm try to battle with myself.
Oh, sure.
On a weekly basis, you know.
Yeah.
You get lazy sometimes and, you know, you just don't want to go, but
Yeah. And
it's almost like
sometimes,
you have to force it.
yeah. And it's not always us, right? Like going back to our process together, the other coaches you worked with prior, how much does having someone else there, a part of the journey, benefit you?
It benefits me so much because even when I worked with you, I knew nothing, you know, trying to learn and, you know, figure the process out. You know, having that person that actually knows what they're doing and can kind of help motivate you through that process is huge, man.
Wow.
The accountability.
Definitely.
Dude,
definitely.
that's a student to the game right there.
Yeah.
A sponge to life.
Yeah. It's something where even now, you know, some of the remedies that we used to do when I prepped with you, I still do now, you know. So it's one of those ongoing battles where you're continuously trying to learn. You're continuously trying to better yourself.
Yeah. And dude, honestly, just taking a moment to shed light on you, I mean, that is so impressive because you're literally a professional natural bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So for most guys, I mean, think about the excuses people have. There's always another level, right? People have the reasons as to I have a few kids. Well, some people have 8 kids. They're getting it done.
Yeah.
I work 50 hours a week. Some people work 80 hours a week. They're getting it done. It's like no matter what excuse you're leaning on, if you want to make a change, you can make the change.
Yeah.
Quit leaning on your excuses and find a reason. And a lot of times it comes in the accountability of a coach or someone that you tie yourself to. You know, you don't have to have all the willpower in the world to get the job done.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand. You're going to go through your struggles with everything that you do in life. And, I mean, with me, when I was prepping with you, you know, there were several struggles back then, you know, financial as well as, you know, my wife's father passing away. And, you know, she had me, in a sense, back then glued together. And when all that happened, you know, she kind of just was grieving, you know, and it was one of those things where I would try to grieve with her, but at the same time, it was hard for me to focus on her as well as focus on myself. So that was the battle that I faced. And I can't make any excuses for, you know, my outcome, you know, in that prep because, you know, it wasn't the best, but at the same time, I was still learning how to figure out things, how to get things going.
Yeah.
And so I won't make any excuses for that. But it was just one of those things where now I feel like things are where they're supposed to be. Things are, you know, financially stable, things of that nature that I might actually make another comeback.
Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. And not to downplay the result, but a lot of the times people feel like it's the result that they're really after, but is it not the journey? And not even the journey, but the person you become along the way. The struggles that you went through during our process and just hearing you relay them now is like, man, did anyone really care about the outcome? If the outcome wasn't optimal, it's almost like the pain and suffering that you went through made it more of a worthwhile memory when you look back on it than if it went flawlessly.
My thing is this, I'm so glad it went the way it went because I would have to say at that time, I wasn't at the lowest in my life, but the struggle was real, man. It was bad, you know. So now me having to overcome that, and I was too worried about back then. I was too worried about the outcome. I have to win. I have to get first place. That's all that mattered to me. You know, I wanted to be the best. You know, I wanted to be with the elites in the game. And you know, me being a newer pro at that time, that's not ever the reality a lot of times. Like I don't have the genetic gifts as some of these other pros, like you know Doug Miller or Magnum have. You know, so you know for me,
Those damn quads, man.
you know, so for me, that struggle I think helped me realize that it's more about the journey. It's more about my self-perseverance. You know, that it able to allow me to not worry about everybody else, because that's what I used to do. Worry about, oh man, he's got this and his back is like this and I want to look like him. You can't do that. And now that I know that all I have to do is me versus me, man, it's so much more golden for me now in that aspect.
Wow.
That's awesome. What would you say is the greatest benefits anybody could get from just taking care of their health and fitness and the journey you went through? What were the biggest takeaways you got?
I would say a healthy way of life. A lot of people, you know, a lot of people are lazy as far as not wanting to cook their foods, and you know, you got a McDonald's around every corner, Burger King, you know. And in all honesty, the healthy food is expensive, you know, and a lot of people just want to go cheap and they want to go fast, and they're lazy, so they don't want to cook. So, I mean, for me, the benefit is with the discipline. So if you're able to cook, if you're able to train, if you're able to keep yourself healthy, then the gym is just, to me, 10% of the game. It's the health, the dieting, you know, and the nutrition that you put yourself into. That's the 90%. That's going to get you the goals that you need.
Wow. Wise words. So with that, before we transition out, what does winning look like on any fitness journey, regardless of where someone's at and where they're looking to go? What does winning look like for you out the other side?
Knowing that I gave it my all, no matter the outcome, bro. Like, I don't give a damn if I place in third place or last place. If I know that I gave it my all, then I'm winning. Bodybuilding is a subjective sport.
100%.
You know, you can look the way you think you're going to look, or I should have won first place and this and this and that, but that might not be the case. But if you know that you put your 1,000% into everything that you did, then you've won in my eyes.
Love that answer.
Yeah.
As long as you know you gave it your all, what do you really have to lose?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a hard thing to admit for many men. You know, you got to push the ego aside to really admit that and confidently say it.
Yeah, sometimes I feel it's probably an age thing, a wisdom thing. You're like, do I really need to win first? If I win first, great. But if I get last, you know what? I did everything I possibly could to try and win first, and it just wasn't my day.
Yeah, all stones unturned. You know, you just can't be lazy. And I think that's the biggest issue with a lot of people now, and everything that they do is some type of laziness, you know. And I get it. Like I said, motivation comes and goes, you know, but it's the consistency and not being lazy that will help you mentally actually get over the hump to where you can say, you know what, I did everything that I feel I possibly could with all the help that I had, you know, as far as family goes, you know, as far as friends, as far as the coaches that you work with, opposing coaches that you work with. If you put your all into it, then you're winning, bro.
I agree.
Let's go. That's what it's about right there.
Exactly.
Everyone could get to that point in life. Not that you're old by any means, but at 44, having that amount of wisdom, that's what it's about right there.
Yeah, and making a comeback.
That's that old man stuff, man. So, you know, I mean, we'll see. We're slowly, mentally getting ourselves in preparation. I was thinking next year. No, we're gonna take another year to kind of really, really get that focus.
That's
you know,
preparation.
Just stay in the game, and we'll see what happens, man.
Love it.
Go. All right, let's get out of these dang tubs.
Let's do it.
I agree. Oh, that was cold. Did it though.
Quick shout out to the Pod Company, the sponsor for the Cold Tub Talks. I'm sitting here in the Ice Pod Pro. Coach Devin's in the Long Pod, and you can get your discounted cold tub in the description below. Check it out for yourself.
All right, we're back. How you feel, Rob?
I feel better now.
Yeah? How'd you say your legs felt getting out of the cold tub?
So I went to get out of the tub and I felt like they were getting numb on me. So I thought I was gonna fall for a second.
He's got leg day later.
It's always a different experience getting out of the cold plunge. All right, I'm curious. How difficult is it to follow a program, have structure? Some people overcomplicate just following something, period. What was that experience like for you?
For me, it was incredibly difficult because, for one, when you want to go all in a journey like that, you really don't know what it entails. So, yeah, you see all the big IFBB professional bodybuilders, and, they talk about the suck. Everybody talks about the suck, but they really don't know what the suck is. But at first, it didn't seem bad because the motivation was high, things were rolling, weight was dropping. But then, when you get into the meats and potatoes of it all, and you get to what I call, and what everyone else calls, the suck, that where you have to mentally and physically push yourself to the gym on low energy with little food, and you get to where you just, there was some times where I didn't know whether I was coming or going. Like I was just in complete I don't even know how to explain it, bro. It was just, for me, it was tough.
Yeah.
And everyone's journey is different, but for me, doing something like that and really going all in, it was hard for me, very hard.
I got to say, I'm surprised. I thought you were going to say, man, it makes it easier. Structure makes it more simple, but you just never know. Like everyone's journey is different. So the fact that you answered that way, obviously your goals are more extreme than most. You're in a higher echelon of what most people want to accomplish in life. They're just trying to get in shape, not be a freaking shredded beast.
Yeah.
But
for me, it was one of those things where, like I said back then when I saw the other guys, they had the striated glutes and, you could pull their skin and, they had no fat on their body, It was like, yeah, I want to look like him and I want to look like him and look like him. But I just never really knew what it took to get there. And that's the battle that I faced when I really went into a competition like that with a coach and a prep that they actually knew what they were doing. So
yeah,
it was tough for me.
Isn't that the beauty of life? You never know until you know. Any journey.
Yeah.
Having a kid, business. Like you don't know how to do something until you freaking do it.
Yep.
You can increase your odds, your chances, but there's no guarantee.
And I commend a lot of these guys who compete year in, year out. Like, I couldn't do it. There's no way I'd be able to compete year in, like every single year, like some of these guys do.
Yeah.
To be in that suck, mentally, I was mentally drained. Not gonna lie. Some people are like, oh, it's not bad. It's actually fun. I know Big Sam that we know, he loves prep. Sam is crazy, but he's in darn good shape, man.
Yeah.
That dude is a beast.
Yeah, next level attitude.
So his level of attitude is kind of where I would like to get to. But I'm not even close to getting there yet. That dude, I look up to him so much, because he's always been a grinder, when he was in the military to bodybuilding to even now doing all these marathons and running that he does, so if I could get a small percentage of his drive, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah.
What would you say after working with Tyler and Insta Shred? What made it easier for you to stay in shape year round? Because you're still in phenomenal shape even outside of contest prep, bodybuilding. Like, what did you learn of how to make that easier for yourself?
I would say to make it easier for me, it was just knowing that consistency. that I had, and then just trying to mimic that throughout the rest of my life. So it was, we did a prep. That was a process. But then what are you going to do after the process? You just going to lay over and be lazy? Or are you going to continue somewhat that way of life to proceed to continue to get better? And I just want to continue to get better.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
I think that's for a lot of people. It's they're so hungry to accomplish and get there. They don't think about the sustainability factor. And we take a lot of pride in, hey, let's not just get you there. Let's keep you there. You don't realize it yet because you're hungry to get there. But when you get there, you're going to feel so much better having the capability to sustain than to go back to old habits. Because having something for a temporary period of time, it's not as great as you think. Right? Being shredded for a very short period of time, not nearly as cool as living shredded. Having a good amount of money for a period of time isn't as good as sustaining that wealth. But people don't think about that when they're in a place of pain and they're like, man, I'm fed up. I'm tired of where I'm at. I need to get in shape. They just go. They throw in the cardio. They cut the carbs. They go ham. Yeah. But then it's like, well, you're going to keep that up? We live in a wonderful country. America's got a lot of good food to offer. When you go keto to lose a bunch of weight, what are you going to do afterwards? You're most likely going to rebound because you're going to implement the things that you weren't doing to get to where you got. Now you're screwed.
Yeah, and you have to think of bodybuilding, health and fitness, kind of like generational wealth. So do you want to just make money now and then spend it all? Or do you want to create a lifestyle where you could be at your best, but then continue to try to get better? And a lot of people don't. They just want to get the money and they want to spend it all. So they'll do a prep and then, okay, I'm going to be a fat ass for the rest of my days. Whereas with me, I wanted to get some knowledge, continue gaining more knowledge, and create like a generational wealth for myself so that I can continue the ongoing process and trying to make myself better in years to come.
Yeah. Would you say hiring a coach made your life easier?
Yes.
With
Wow.
Absolutely.
Quick-witted.
And that was, I mean, that just comes from having kids, having a full-time job, and everything else that comes in life. So many people, I think, skip the step of they'll eventually figure it out themselves versus investing a little bit in themselves and just hiring someone that's already been there, done that. It can just make their life easier because, like you said, it's that roadmap of now I can have this the rest of my life. I know how to take care of myself, and you don't have to worry about all the, well, what do I do now? How do I lose weight? Like, I put all my weight back on. I think it's just like a smart thing. You answered so quick.
Oh, yeah.
But what made it so well worth the investment, you would say?
For me, it was taking all the guesswork out of stuff I really didn't know. So when I got into bodybuilding, they say eat all the chicken, eat minimal rice, make sure you have your veggies.
Potatoes and
I
all this stuff.
I didn't know about that stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, to have that coach kind of tell you, okay, here's the calorie breakdown for this week. And, okay, let's see how you're looking. Let's weigh yourself. Let's see where we're at. And then the next week, okay, we're going to keep going with this to see how many pounds that we lose. I didn't know the science behind all of that stuff. How many calories to burn. I literally, when it comes to me in bodybuilding and health and fitness, I'm kind of dumb when it comes to the education because I don't have the educational background in bodybuilding and health and fitness and things like that. So for me, having a coach that knew those things and that could teach me on what, I need to know as far as to not only get myself going now, but to have myself going from years to come, it really benefited me drastically. So even when I get back to wanting to compete here in the near future, I'm definitely getting a coach because I'm going to let him do the work.
Mm-hmm.
He's just going to be like, here, you do this. And I'm just going to say, yes, sir.
Yeah.
That is nice. That's a luxury.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about, okay, I have to eat this. I have to eat that. we need these amount of calories for this week. I don't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
I just go do what he says, put in the work, and then see the outcome.
Oh,
I
it's
love
such a
that.
hack to life too, isn't it?
Yeah.
You think about every aspect of life. You think about even building a home. Like you could be the general contractor of your own home, but you know how much baggage that comes with? And you realize how much time it takes away from what you really want to be spending your days doing.
Yep.
And it's sometimes the simple things like hiring a coach for your fitness that just takes that mental burden off of your plate.
Yeah. And, a lot of people, they think they're know-it-alls, and they think that they can do it on their own.
Wow.
And
Not
that-
wrong.
if you're going to be a successful, in my eyes, if you're going to be a successful natural bodybuilder, you need a coach that knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Because your odds, it's not only are you taking up the extra time to do it yourself, but also you decrease your chances of success by just winging it, not knowing what you're doing, right?
Yep. Because you need that second and third eye. You can't just look in the mirror and be like, oh, yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to win this show.
Yeah.
And then you get there and you place last, and you're like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have anybody to help you get there.
Yeah.
Think about it. When you're bodybuilding, your family and your friends a lot of times are bodybuilding with you. Your family has to go through not only helping you maybe make the foods or get meal prep together, but then you have your friends that are like, hey, let's hang out, let's do some things. And you're kind of like, really don't want to go there because I don't want the temptation of maybe eating or drinking some things I don't need to eat or drink.
Yeah.
So then it's like you almost shun your friends away. So I know I really didn't, when I was prepping, I really didn't hang out with friends. It was a little bit more geared towards family and staying in that close knit so that I could stay on top of my goals rather than going out, hanging out, kicking it. And now there's drinking involved, and now there's fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, so you got to try to stay away from that stuff if you really want to hone in and focus on your goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, doing it by yourself, it's so much easier to cheat on things, right? You got no one to report back to. You could skip a weigh-in. Who's going to know?
Yeah.
But if you have a coach and it's like, hey, where's the weigh-in? Where's your check-in? You're kind of like, oh, shit. Like, he's going to know I kind of went off plan because my weight went up. I don't want to report to him and let him know I let you down. Versus yourself, it's funny. People will easily let themselves down if the only person holding them accountable is themselves. But if you have someone else actually there checking in on you, you feel guilty that you're letting somebody else down.
Yeah. And what's crazy is they know.
Yeah.
Like,
You could lie to them, but the scale's not going to lie. They're going to know.
What does that scale say? What did you eat, or what did you do wrong, or what didn't you do? And with your cardio, or your eating, things that you missed. So they're gonna know.
Yeah. It's a nice thing about this industry is you can't hide what you do behind the scenes. Your body will always reflect it.
Yep. You are what you eat.
Yeah. You hear a lot of people say, I'm doing this and doing that, but my weight's just not changing. And well, clearly you're not doing something right.
Exactly.
Either what you're eating, skipping workouts, doing other things. Like, you're not telling the full truth here, and we all know that.
Yeah. And isn't it so nice to show up for someone outside of yourself? Not that we're doing it for someone else, but when you hold yourself accountable to someone else, a coach that you confide in, you look up to, you respect, you want to have a good rapport with, you show up different than if you're just doing it for you. You
Yeah.
can let yourself down and justify the reasoning. But when you have to report to someone else, it's more so, okay, I look up to and respect this person. What are they going to say?
Yep. And on top of that, you're reporting to this person, but you've also paid a substantial amount of money maybe to that person too.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want to waste money, or do you want to make the money work for you?
That's the move, man.
That's it. How much more energy do you have by taking care of yourself too? I sit here and think, you said you had kids, and I have kids, and you sit here and think, people that don't have the energy to put towards spending time with their kids, if they just took care of themselves, I mean, we're full of energy. Just by making some healthier food choices, by exercising. How big of a difference was that for you?
It's a huge difference because, if you have the energy, then you can exhibit that energy to everyone else around you. You know, I try to focus on a lot of positive energy with anyone I'm around. And if I feel negative vibes, I can't be around that, you know, and because I deal with that on a daily basis in my career. You know, I deal with a negative atmosphere all the time, you know, so with me trying to constantly stay positive and bring that positive energy to everyone else, it's in hopes to so that other people can have that positive energy as well, dealing in different situations that may or may not be negative.
Oh man.
So I love trying to stay positive. And it's life. Life isn't always going to be positive, you know, and you just have to, when at times when you're in the suck, like bodybuilding aspect, you know, you have to find ways to keep yourself upbeat.
Yeah. No, I agree. But even having kids to that point, do you feel like them watching you held them to a higher standard of wanting to take care of their health and fitness?
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, you're a big influence on them, because if they see you trying or making attempts to be successful, you know, whether it's anything, health and fitness, or, you know, with dealing with them, then they're going to be like, oh, well, I want to be like that too. Or I want to mimic that same type of energy that, you know, my parents are mimicking. You know, I want to try to follow that same creed that they're following. So it's, and I mean, even people who come to bodybuilding shows and things of that nature, you know, you're almost a beacon of success, you know, for other people too. You know, so with your family, you know, with people that, you know, come to shows and see you put out your best self that you might try to do, you know, it's huge, you know. So it's not just for family aspects, it's for everyone.
Yeah. We all got baggage. We all got reasons. So for that person that's trying to get over that hump, trying to find the reason to lock in and commit, what would you say to them?
Find your why. What is your purpose? You know, you have to understand your purpose in life before you can actually go out and do what it is that you need to do to be successful. A lot of people don't know their why, or, you know, why they're doing things for themselves. And I just think that once you realize and you find your why as to what is my purpose or what should I be doing to better myself, then once you do that, I think you'll be successful.
What's your why?
My why is because I want to continue a healthy way of life. I want to live long, and I want to continue to educate myself and grow, whether it's with health and fitness, whether it's within the bodybuilding aspect, whether it's in life. You know, I try to find my why every day. Why am I getting up and doing what I do? Why do I go to the gym and put myself through agony that I put myself through? Why do I decide to, you know, eat the way I eat? You know, it's to help better myself in years to come. So just find your why and your reasoning within yourself. And I think people will be better off.
I love that answer. That was deep.
Hey, it's
Quick-witted,
the way I
too.
live by. And I don't, you know, as I get older, like I said, the ego lifting's out the door. You know, it's more focused on form. It's way more focused on time under tension. But why do I do that? Longevity.
Yeah.
You know, now I feel like my joints are stronger because I've used the quote, less is more in my training aspect now. You know,
That's it.
so I'll go kind of hard. I'll go pretty hard with legs, you know, but everything else is a lot more time under tension, you know, really focusing on the form, really sitting down in the pocket, you know, bringing things all the way down, full range of motion, and then exploding up. You know, I might take 2, 3, 4 seconds at a time to, you know, bring the weights down before I push them back up. You know, so
Things we all forget sometimes, rushing through those reps.
less is more, baby.
Yeah,
That's
really.
the way that I'm keeping myself in shape, keeping my joints stronger, you know, and stretching. people, forget to do that. And that's something I'm big on now too. Wasn't big on that when I was in my 20s, but now it's become more a part of my life because I want to be able to move if I make it to 70, 80, 90 years old. So
yeah, foam rolling and stretching, man. That's a big piece of the puzzle for us too. Yeah, you got to implement those things. It doesn't take long, right? 5-10 minutes.
Not much.
Yeah.
Not at all.
For any person watching, though, would you say it is worthwhile for them to reach out and work with us here at InstaShred to get their health and fitness back on track?
Absolutely. If you don't know your why and you want to learn and educate yourself on health and fitness, I would encourage you guys to look into it, find out, see if they can help you be successful. Because I can guarantee you, if you do decide to make that positive change within yourself, then the benefit will be tenfold.
Love that.
That's the word.
I
Smarter,
totally
not harder
agree.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, less is more. That's exactly what we do here. I mean, that's why we only have people work out 3 times a week. You don't need to do 6-7 days of working out. Even in bodybuilding sometimes, like, unless you're on gear or other stuff, like, I understand those people are going to the gym just about every single day, but their bodies can handle that. Naturally, you can't. Most people just think if I'm doing more, I'm going to get more results, but that's just not the truth.
Not the science with that, so, and really now with my workouts, I'm doing 2 working sets. It's no more of the 4 or 5
Dude,
sets.
that's it. The Dorian Yates way, baby.
Yeah, doing 2 working sets, but those sets are tough. You know, it's not an easy way. You know, it's one of those things where you're going to go in there, you're going to do 2 sets, but you're going to be pouring in sweat after those 2 sets.
Yeah.
So, every exercise, focus on time under tension, 2 sets of work, and then getting your cardio and then getting your stretching in motion, man. Yeah, man. But, I would say people get a coach. If you don't have a coach, work with InstaShred, find your why. And I guarantee you the outcome will be tenfold. I promise you that.
That's it.
That's why we do what we do, man.
That's right.
Make life a little easier. Work smarter, not harder, and take that heavy weight off of people's shoulders and help live the happiest, healthy life.
Yep, indeed.
All right. Thanks for coming and sharing some of your story today, man.
Man, I appreciate you guys,
we
man.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you have, once again, what a lot of guys want. So you sharing that can be that much more of an oomph for the next guy to be like, all right, I'm in. I'm next. Let's go.
Man, like Nike, just do it, man.
I'm repping it.
That's it. You just got to commit. If you're going to do it, you just have to go all in, find someone that's going to lead you on the right path, and you're going to find success there.
All day. I agree. Definitely.
You're the man, Rob.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you, my man. Hopefully you're warm back up now.
Yeah, I am a little bit
too. Yeah.